Hello everyone, my name is Nash and welcome to the channel. This is going to be my first video and I'm just going to be doing a Premier League predictions for the upcoming season. Let's get into it. Alright, well for this video, I'm just going to be using the official predictor on the Premier League website. And I'm just going to go through each of the teams, tell you what I think of them and where they will finish. And the first team that I'm going to have going down is Burnley. I'm just going to drag them all the way to 20th here. And it's just a tough one with the promoted teams. And I think they've actually done some decent business. Kyle Walker, Broya, and Ugochukwu from Chelsea. I think those two are pretty promising. Ugochukwu especially. I think Broya has had some injury issues, and if he can get some consistent game time, he's probably good enough to get some goals. But overall, I just think they won't have enough goals in them. They've got a solid defense, and I think they'll probably still be defensively solid, even though they're stepping up to Premier League level. But overall, I just don't think they score enough, and that's why I've got them in 20th. All right, in 19th place, I am going to go for Leeds United. Again, I think they've done some decent business, and it's not a foregone conclusion that they go down, which I kind of think Burnley is. I think getting a new goalkeeper was a must. Meslier is just not good enough. But again, I think the step up is just going to be way too much in terms of quality from the Championship to the Premier League. And I think they'll have some decent games where they show just good attacking play in general. But overall, I don't think they'll get enough points to stay up. All right, now for 18th place, there are a few options. A lot of people have been saying Brentford could go down, and I think that's a possibility. I think Wolves will be down there, and the obvious one is Sunderland. So for me, it's between these three teams as the final relegation team. And I think I'm just going to go through all three of them at once because they're going to be 18th to 16th, regardless for me. Brentford, like they lost Mbuemo, they are probably losing Wissa. They've lost Norgard. They lost Flecken, but I think they've actually upgraded with Kelleher. And yeah, the big factor for Brentford is the manager, whether Keith Andrews is actually good enough. I mean, he's got no experience as a head coach at any level, and you're expecting him to step up to the Premier League. It's kind of tough, but Brentford usually don't get things wrong. So I'm kind of willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on that. I think they need some more transfers, because you're not replacing 40 goals, I think, just with the people you have. Currently, I think for Fabio Carvalho can step up. The striker they got, Igor Thiago, who's been injured most of the time, maybe he steps up. But to replace 40 goals is a tough ask. So I think regardless of whether or not they go down, I think they'll be fighting relegation for a majority of the season. Wolves, I know it's a weird one. They've lost Cunha, and I actually like a lot about Wolves, particularly their midfield partnership with was it Andre Gomez and the other Brazilian. His name is passing me up right now. But I like their midfield. I think they've actually got some underrated attackers. I think Bellegarde and Netzi last season they both did pretty well. But I'm not sure I trust Vitor Pereira to keep it up now from the start of the season to the end. I don't think they've reinforced well after you losing Cunha. Strand Larson is still good. I think he's still going to get some goals. But I think they'll be one of the three teams here. And then Sunderland, they spent a ton of money. They're most people's pick of the promoted teams to stay up, and for good reason. I think Marguerite from Chelsea is a solid player. Xhaka, obviously. I think Adingra is an incredible signing and could be what keeps them up. And I would like one promoted team to stay up, and I do think they can do it, but it's just trying to predict a Premier League team to go down and just have a horrific season. It's always a tough one. And so I think the gap is probably still just too much. And so I'm going to put Sunderland in 18th. I think Sunderland, they are probably the kind of team with the window they've had that if they do go down, I think they could come back up and then stay up at that attempt. So I'm going to go for that. And between Wolves and Brentford, I'm going to say Wolves just stay up and Brentford come 16th. All right, this next part of the table is always quite difficult from like 10 to 15 because literally any of these teams could finish anywhere. But I think for 13th to 15th, I'm gonna have Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Fulham kind of within this area here. Fulham, they haven't lost anyone major, I don't think, but they also haven't really made many signings, and I think it's quite dangerous to stand still in the Premier League. I do think Marco Silva is a good coach, but I think they might just have a bad season. I think they'll probably do one, which is really not good reasoning, but they've not done anything that excites me, which, could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing, but I'm going to take it as a bad thing in this case, and I'm going to go for Fulham. Bournemouth and Crystal Palace. This is a weird one. Crystal Palace are looking like they might lose both Gay and Eze. So if they do, I think they would definitely be down here, and that's kind of what I'm taking into account here. Plus, they've got European football. I think they should be able to handle the Conference League, though, which is where they will be playing in. And then Bournemouth, who have lost basically three of their starting back four. I think that's incredibly difficult to deal with. They have just brought in a center back, and I think they also got a left back, Truffert. I'm not French, but they brought him in, and I still think it's quite a big loss. Kluivert's going to be out for the start of the season, and I think they're just going to struggle defensively. I think they still got a decent midfield. They've got some exciting players in attack. Semenyo staying. Evan Nilsson, I really like, but yeah, I think they're just going to struggle to keep up with what they were doing last season. So out of these three, I think I'm set with Fulham in 15. Palace and Bournemouth, they're kind of interchangeable. I think if Palace lose Eze, which I'm expecting them to at this point, he's been linked to Spurs and Arsenal. It looks like Spurs are a bit more likely at the moment. I think if they lose Eze, that's just a massive loss for them, and maybe they can replace him before the end of the season or the end of the window rather. But whoever they do replace him with, I don't think is giving them what he does. So I'm going to put Palace in 14th and Bournemouth in 13th. All right, now we're coming up on upper mid-table and those teams that would be hoping to get into Europe. And I'm sure some of you are asking where West Ham and Everton. All right, these are actually two teams that I think are going to have quite decent seasons, Everton particularly. I know a lot of people are low on West Ham, and with good reason, but I'm going to be honest, as a Chelsea fan, even though his time here was mostly terrible, I do think Graham Potter is a good coach, and I think with the preseason under his belt, I actually expect West Ham to do pretty well. Everton have made some good signings. I think Dewsbury Hall is a great signing. Grealish on loan is really exciting. Tierno Barry, we'll see what he can do. I think he potentially could be really good for them. And NDI is a really good player. So I'm expecting good things from Everton. I think they could potentially be pushing up into like the eighth spot, challenging for Europe. But right now I'm gonna go actually. Ooh, it's a tough one. I think for 12th place is between Forest and West Ham. Forest, I was going to have actually a bit lower, but it looks like they're going to be signing Hutchinson and they're going to be signing James McAtee. So I think things are looking a bit up for them now. I think their defense is so good, and I think it's going to be what keeps them quite high throughout the season. Contending with Europa League is going to be quite tough for them, though. So I think I think for that reason, with Europe, I think they're gonna maybe struggle to balance things out, especially if they go deep in that competition. So I'm gonna put them at 12th. West Ham again, um, people are really low on them, but I think with El Hadji Diouf that they signed, he looks pretty exciting. I think Fulkrug is gonna have a good season. Bowen's fantastic. I think Paqueta with the kind of bet situation that was looming over him for the last year or whatever. I think that's kind of gone now. He's been cleared of all charges, so I'm expecting a good season from him. And Juan Bissaka is good as well. And I think the defense is not actually that bad. I think Kilman's quite good. So yeah, I think 11th place. I think West Ham fans would be happy considering what the expectations are. I think they would be happy with 11th. And Everton, yeah, Everton. I really am big on Everton this season. I think Tarkovsky is a bit. I don't think he's a great defender, but I think he kind of gets the job done. I think Branthwaite is very good. Um, they've just brought in a new left back from Bayern, and yeah, I think David Moyes is just gonna have quite a good season. Like part of me, my gut almost wants to push them into like eighth. I really do think they could be that high, but maybe it's a big ask. I mean, they've got a new stadium as well. I think things are just really looking up for Everton, but I'm gonna keep them in 10th. I think that's pretty solid, and that gives them a platform to build on going into the future. All right, now we've got the top nine. Okay, I think I'm gonna do something quite strange here. I don't know if it's strange. I haven't seen too many predictions, but I think Newcastle are going to struggle and well, struggle a little bit. They've got UCL football, obviously, but I think they're going to lose Isak, which is the main factor. I don't think whoever you replace him with, Nicholas Jackson, who, as a Chelsea fan, I think he's quite underrated. I think he's a bit overhated. He has a lot of good qualities, but I think with the two Premier League and Champions League, I think overall Isak is just such a huge loss for them, and yeah, I think they're going to struggle a little bit. I could see them still coming in eighth, but I I'm just gonna go with ninth. I think they're gonna have not the best of seasons in the Premier League, so I'm gonna go with that. Brighton, they've got a lot of good players. I think this is a big season for the likes of Rutter and Mente. I could see Brighton. Brighton could actually struggle. Like I've got them in eighth right now, but I would not be shocked if they finish like 12th, 13th. I'm just kind of banking on them improving and Herzler just getting things right for them. And with pretty much, I think there are 9 teams in the Premier League that are going to be in Europe. They're going to have a lot of time, a lot of freshness compared to these other teams, and I think that could push them further up. I think they could probably finish seventh. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Will I do that? No, I'm gonna keep them in eighth. I'm gonna keep them in eighth. And yeah, which means like the top seven are technically like the big six plus one. The plus one has been Newcastle in recent times, but obviously it's Villa that's gonna be up there now for me. So yeah, let's get into that. Seventh place, I'm just gonna leave Spurs here. Thomas Frank's first season. And I've seen a lot of people have them lower, and like I get it because they did finish 17th last season, obviously, but I just think they gave up on the Premier League season by January. So I don't think that was really a representation of who they were, especially when you consider how they played in the Europa League second half of the season. And not just against United, they faced some decent European sides like Frankfurt, and they were able to get past that. So I think Frank is a good manager. I like the signing of Kudus. They have lost Madison, but I'll be honest, I didn't rate him that highly anyways. I think once Kulusevski comes back, they'll be better as well. And I think it all depends on Thomas Frank. If you see him like as able to make the step up from Brentford to Spurs, I think he will do a decent job. I think juggling Champions League again with the Premier League, I think seventh is not a terrible finish for Spurs. For sixth, I haven't had to move anything. I think it will be United. It's a make or break season for Amorim. I think he's got no European football, so I think they're gonna have to have a good season. I think the United fans would probably want, I don't know if maybe expect Champions League with them in fifth, but I think six is where they're gonna end up. I think Mbeumo and Cunha are fantastic signings. Sheshko is a good player. We'll have to wait and see how he fits in the Premier League. I think it's a bit worrying that they haven't made any upgrades in midfield or defense. They are linked to Baleba, but I can't see them working out 100 million plus for him. So I don't think that move will materialize. Dorgu's been looking good in preseason. Ahmad on the right hand side. I think Yoro, if he stays fit, is a good player. So I do just think the lack of Europe is going to really help them this season, but I don't see them being better than the teams that I have above them. So I'm going to leave them in sixth. And for the top five and fifth, I'm going to have Aston Villa. I think Unai Emery's obviously a great manager, kind of juggling Premier League or just league and European form in general. Last season they got quite close to knocking out PSG in the Champions League, and they still ended up coming sixth. We're really close to getting fifth. Yeah, this one is just on Emery. I think they haven't done a ton of business, but I think Malen is going to play a bigger part this season. Um, I think they've kept Ollie Watkins. It looks like they have. Newcastle could still go for them, but I think it would be crazy for them to sell to a direct rival like that. And so with Morgan Rogers as well, I think they'll probably win the Europa League, honestly, and then coming fifth, I think it's going to be a really good season for Villa. All right, and now for the top four. This, I think it's been, or it is probably the most difficult top four to predict in the last few years. I think every team in here is really, really good. But I do think there's probably still going to be like two kind of gaps. I think it's going to be really close, a lot closer than it was last couple of seasons. But I think as you get into like March, April, I think probably these two will fall out of the title race quite late on. I think they'll be in it for a while, but I think they'll fall out of it quite late on. And so in fourth and fifth, or fourth and third rather, I'm gonna have City and Chelsea. And the only reason I have Chelsea fourth is because of the loss of Levi Colwill. I think he was huge for us, especially the later parts of last season. He's really developed as just a defender and a leader. And so I think losing basically what is your best center back going into the season is always going to be tough. I think we've got a lot of quality in midfield and attack that's going to help us kind of offset that loss and still be good enough to make top four. But I don't think we are going to win the title, and I don't think we're going to be kind of in second just because I think he's a huge loss. What I'm kind of hoping for Chelsea for the season is just top four and maybe a domestic trophy and a decent run in the UCL, and I'll be happy. I'm excited about a lot of our signings. Obviously, I think João Pedro's looked incredible. I think Giddens actually looks really good, a lot better than I was expecting already. And Esteval, he's quite young, so not wanting to put too much pressure on him already, but I'm looking forward to the season as a Chelsea fan. Same with City. They've made some decent signings. Cherki is coming in. Apparently, they might lose Savinho to Spurs. That one's looking kind of likely, but I think Reinders is a good signing as well. Aït-Nouri from Wolves. So I think it's kind of weird because City won obviously the previous four leagues before last season, and so it's kind of weird to just have them in third. Like they could easily win the Prem again. Like Pep knows what he's doing, obviously, but I think they've lost a bit of, for lack of a better word, aura after last season. And I don't know, I just feel like teams see City as a lot more gettable this season. Teams aren't as afraid of City as they were previously. So I think that matters a lot when coming into like fixtures against bottom teams. Like teams feel they can get something from City and show them like a bit less respect. So I think they could easily prove me wrong. They could finish second, they could win the league, but I'm going to have them in third here. All right, comes down to the final two, Arsenal and Liverpool. And as a Chelsea fan, the last thing I want to do is predict Arsenal to win the league, obviously. Looking at their signings, I think Gyökeres is going to be great. I've seen people say he's going to flop. I just can't see it. The guy scored 100 goals in the last 2 seasons. He's an incredible striker. Like, out of every team he could have gone to, I would not have wanted him to go to Arsenal. I think he's great. Zubamendi's a great signing. The one thing I'm not sure of with Arsenal is that left-hand side. I'm surprised they played 52 mil for Madueke. It's kind of strange in my opinion. I don't know if he's going to start on that left or if it's going to be Martinelli, Trossard, whoever. I think that's kind of the weak point of the Arsenal team. But the rest of their team, I mean, is great. They've got the best defense in the league. Their fullbacks are really solid. Their midfield is really good. Like generally, they only have one weak position. It's that left wing. And the question is, will it be enough? I think for Arteta, like it has to be this season or else I don't know. I mean, do I see them sacking him if they don't win the league? I really don't know. But I think he has to win at least one trophy. If it's not the league, then certainly a domestic trophy at the worst. And then Liverpool, Ekitike is coming, Wirtz is coming, two really good signings, but it's all about Isak for me. I think Liverpool are quite good. Their defense has looked a bit shaky in preseason and obviously in the Community Shield as well. And I think it just depends on whether or not they sign Isak. If they do, I think they win the league. As good as Arsenal, I think it's so tough to pick. But I think if they do sign Isak, he will be the deciding factor. I think he's just so good. I think he's obviously top two strikers in the Premier League with Haaland. A lot of people might put him up there after last season. Haaland didn't have the best of season despite scoring 20 plus goals. But I think if they do sign Isak, I mean, you look at their attack, Salah, Isak, potentially Ekitike on the left, if not Gakpo, and Wirtz with that midfield, McAllister, Gravenberch. I mean, and then their fullbacks as well, Kirkez and Frimpong. Obviously, Frimpong's not incredible defensively, but I think Arne Slot has earned enough trust for us to think he knows what he's doing. And so based on the fact that I think Isak signs for Liverpool, I'm gonna put them first. And yeah, that's gonna be it. That's gonna be my Premier League predictions. All right, I was hoping it would give me a kind of final table with all the teams, and it has. So I'm looking at this. I'm pretty happy with it overall. Is there anything that I think could be changed? I could see Brighton getting Europe. My gut wanted to put Everton a bit higher, but I think maybe that's just too crazy. Um, all this I'm pretty happy with. I feel like I could possibly get Fulham really wrong. Like I just feel like they've stood still a bit, but they could genuinely just shoot up the table. I have no idea. And I'm kind of hoping one of the newly promoted teams stay up, but who knows? So yeah, that's gonna be my predictions. Let me know what you think, what you agreed with, disagreed with. Put them down in the comments below. And let me know what you think the table will look like. You know, if you've got your predictions, you can share them with me below or just list your table and I'll check it out. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm gonna be doing more content based around Premier League, Chelsea, maybe some FPL stuff if you're interested in that. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.